Okay? Johnny Somali is finally getting criminally charged, and this is a huge deal. Why? Because the legal system in Korea works very differently from other parts of the world. Johnny Somali getting charged and handed over to prosecutors within just a few weeks? That's a massive deal. So basically, in Korea, when you submit a criminal complaint to the police, you have to gather all the information on the defendant. Yes, the defendant is the person you're filing a complaint against. That means his passport info, date of birth, location, and a bunch of other things. Usually in other parts of the world, like the US, the police handle that part for you. But not in Korea. Even after filing a police complaint, the police will still ask you for evidence. They won't just go out and investigate to find it for you. No, they'll usually burden the victim to find and collect all the evidence themselves. First, the victim has to file a complaint, which is already pretty hard. Like, who has the person's passport info they're filing a complaint against? And then, on top of that, the victim has to provide evidence as well. Lawyers in South Korea are basically working as lawyers and detectives searching for clues. That's crazy. Anyways, after the victim provides the evidence, the police will finally start their investigation. They'll interview the defendant and any witnesses, and then they decide whether to drop the case or refer it to a prosecutor. And this whole process, it usually takes months, up to 4 months, just for that decision. Imagine spending all that money on lawyers, wasting your time, only for the police to say after 4 months, "Nah, this ain't it, chief," and toss your case in the trash. The amount of time and effort lost is just insane. I think that's why Johnny probably went to South Korea. He wanted to harass people and hide his passport, so no one could file a complaint against him. But things did not go as planned, because Johnny Somali is already way past this stage, which is pretty impressive. In this case, the police are handling everything themselves. They're collecting evidence and building a case against him.
I can't believe Trump's actually gonna win this fucking thing! Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm so pissed off! Fuck! 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 God damn it!
I'll get into what he's actually getting prosecuted for later in the video, but for now, he's not being charged for disrespecting the comfort statue. At least, not yet. Also, just like Japan has a 99% conviction rate, South Korea also has a staggering 90% conviction rate. Once a case is handed over to prosecutors, there's a 90% chance the person is getting convicted. And in Johnny's case, it has already been handed over to the prosecutors. Another thing to point out, South Korea rarely places anyone on travel bans, even in serious cases like SA. So, if someone wants to flee the country, they usually can. But thankfully, it's not looking good for Johnny Somali. He's on a travel ban, and his case has already been filed by the police and handed over to prosecutors. Now, here comes the interesting part you've all been waiting for. Once a case is forwarded to a prosecutor, they rarely drop it. And secondly, these prosecutors, they are mean. There's no good cop, bad cop game. They will mentally mess you up. Honestly, I think they probably wish they could physically mess you up too. But they can't. Fun fact, police in Pakistan actually do that. They'll physically rough you up to get information. Maybe Johnny should take a trip to Pakistan next, or some other country like Afghanistan or somewhere in the Middle East. But back to South Korean prosecutors. They'll conduct tough interviews with the defendant, and they'll try to aggravate the charges. They are not messing around. Now, Johnny better hope the prosecutors go easy on him, because he's not getting out of this easily. His case, it's not getting dropped. You might be wondering, for all the crimes he committed, which one is he actually getting prosecuted for? Well, this article by Korea Jungang Daily explains it perfectly. Johnny Somali, a U.S. streamer known for his offensive online antics, was handed over to the Korean prosecution for creating a commotion in a convenience store. According to the Seoul Mapo Police Precinct on Monday, the streamer, whose legal name is Ramzi Khalid Ismail, was handed over Wednesday on charges of obstructing a business. So he's being charged for the noodle video. For those of you who don't know, he went to a 7-Eleven, blasted loud music, and screamed slurs at the employee. When an old lady working there politely asked him to leave, he acted all dumb. But as soon as she left, he was right back to doing the same crap. While he was there, he literally poured water out of a noodle box, right onto the table. Then, he threw the noodles that fell onto the table, out the door, right onto people walking into the store. And when some lady asked him to clean up his mess, he cussed her out, called her names, and even lied, saying he didn't eat there.
What are you talking about?
안 된다고요. 소주 안 된다고.
Shut up.
폴리스?
Call the police, stupid bitch.
폴리스 불러요, 형님.
Stupid. I didn't even drink here. Are you dumb? I already talking to you, stupid ass, bald ass.
Now, when an employee asks you to leave and you don't, exactly what Johnny did, you can be booked for obstruction of business. Under Article 314, interference with business, it states, a person who interferes with the business of another by the method of Article 313 or by the threat of force shall be punished by imprisonment with labor for not more than 5 years or by a fine not exceeding 15 million won. You might be thinking, wait, Johnny's a little girl. How can he be booked for a threat of force? Well, here's the thing. If you're asked to leave a business, like 7-Eleven in Johnny's case, and you refuse to leave, that's considered a threat of force. And here's where it gets even worse for him. Aside from a fine exceeding 3 million won, which is around 2,100 US dollars, Johnny can also be deported. But if he gets imprisoned, there's hard labor waiting for him in prison. Another thing to mention here, he's being charged for one crime, but he's done other crimes as well. What South Korean prosecutors can do is charge him for obstruction of business, which is the most minor charge. But here's where it gets interesting. Since he's a first-time offender, they could book him for another crime on the same day. And then another crime after that. Basically, they stack his crimes together, which leads to a much harsher punishment. See, he might get off easy for the first crime as a first-time offender, but as the crimes stack, he's no longer just some first-time offender. He becomes a repeat criminal, and then he won't get a light sentence. So, in short, he's screwed. If all of this is true and becomes a reality for him, plus with his Japan incident as an example of how he lied to the judge, they can probably use that against him too, especially considering how fast they're moving with his case. As I explained earlier, these things usually take months, and the police don't even collect evidence themselves. But here they are, handling everything. Also, in South Korea, trials are open to the public, so whatever happens to him will be out there for everyone to see. And we'll all get to see how it goes down, although that might still take some time. All of this information is coming from a lawyer in South Korea. I'll link his video in the description. Anyways, that's all from me. What do you think will happen to him? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, see ya.